Soldier coming at you today from Robeson County, North Carolina. I know I've been absent for a few days. Don't know what to tell you. Where to start? I'm not going to get into the particulars of what happened yesterday because I haven't fully versed myself in what the lamestream communist news media and the weak-leaning conservative media is putting out there right now. As far as facts, there's a whole lot of theories already starting to float out there. I'm not even going to touch those. What I am going to say is this. It's funny, and people would say that's just coincidental, but I disagree. I guess that's where I'm going to talk on. That every time Crap His Pants Biden speaks about more gun control, passing stricter laws, banning certain weapons, every time he opens his decrepit, depraved, perverted, pedophile mouth, within a day or two there seems to be some type of mass, as the media calls it, shooting incident. It's interesting to note that if it's a shooter of color, the story gets dropped in a heartbeat. And no, I'm not trying to stir the race pot here, folks. I'm just telling what, as far as the media is concerned. Or then when they find out it's gang-related, the story is dropped. Practically no coverage on the number of children and people killed in Chicago every day. Because, Mayor Beetlejuice, lives in a bubble and thinks Chicago's the greatest place to go live. And it's everybody else's problem and fault about the problem Chicago has. And she hasn't done anything wrong. My point being is that one time, okay, 2 times, maybe a coincidence, 3+ times, there's something behind it. Now, y'all might think I'm crazy. And that's fine, too. My wife thinks I'm crazy half the time. My mother even said I was crazy because I followed my father's footsteps to jump out of airplanes. She said she married a crazy one and had a crazy one. She's probably right. God rest her soul. Okay, all puns aside, though. Really think about it. Let's jump back to Biden 1. Okay? He's the most articulated black man I've ever heard. President. Okay? During his presidency, there were several mass shootings. And it seemed like it always came on the talk about gun control. These things would pop up. Now, and again, I don't know much about the whole incident in Texas yesterday, other than I think they're saying now the death toll is up to 21. And I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm sure it did. The question is what was the motivation behind it? Or better yet, who was behind it? I want you to really think about this for a second. Examine sleeper cells for a moment, if you will. People look at me with a cross-eyed stupidity that, okay, whatever. But I really want you to think about this. Sleeper cells. They exist. They exist. Hell, during the Cold War, they were all over the place. And they were designed to step up and do something on a particular cue or note. And these weren't people that were put here yesterday. These were people that were put here for the long game. Remember what I told you about communists. They are the master of the long game. They've been planning things for decades. Decades. Not just years, months, days, or weeks. Decades. Now, this particular shooter was young. Doesn't mean he couldn't have been indoctrinated. from the day he was born, or her, or whatever he calls himself. Just want you to think about that for a second. No, I'm not saying that is what actually happened. This Fruit Loop could have just been a Fruit Loop. But go back and think about it. Every time, like I said, old pedophile Joe opens his mouth about gun control, or one of his cronies opens their mouth about gun control, some type of shooting incident occurs. Let's think about that. And then his boss, Obozo, O'Biden, Obama, whatever you want to call him, pretty much happened during his administration too. All 8 years of it. Let that sink in for a minute. Because the reason I'm also bringing all this up is because now the lies are going to start to come out from the communist left. And the lies will take place and precedent within the news itself, to the point that, as like I said, go back to the naked communist. You tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth and the reality of those watching it. You tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth and the reality of those who watch it and listen to it. And they're going to flood the airwaves with their communist agenda. And then again, that way they can control who gets access to guns. That way they can arm their people, disarm the God-fearing, God-loving, American-spirited patriots of this nation. Okay? I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm speculating. YouTube auditors, I'm speculating. So don't flag me as putting out misinformation like you did on one of my videos about COVID. I was speculating then, but my speculations turned out true. That the president is going to try and come up with some BS executive order to sign and try to implement to either ban what he calls assault weapons. I heard his mouth running in the news again. There's no deer running through the woods. We're going to kill more men. Shut up, Joe. Go change your diaper. But just got a hunch something's going to come out of the White House within the next few days via executive order. Of course, he's already using the ATF to twist policies and call them law. Remember this. When the ATF comes out with a rule change, that is not law. The ATF is not a law-making body. They are not elected. They are a government agency that have too much freaking power. Now, I've told y'all before, they need to do away with the DEA, the ATF, the armed agents of the IRS. Yeah. Get rid of the armed agents of the IRS and just leave it to the Secret Service. They're two different entities. Okay? All right? They need to be subdivisions of the FBI, and they don't need to be exactly super large, if you gather my meaning. And why do I say this? Go back to 9/11, and this is a tangent, but go back to 9/11. All the law enforcement agencies throughout the nation said there was a lack of intelligence because nobody was sharing anything. Well, do away with all the alphabets and fold it under the one umbrella of the FBI. Okay. Let the Secret Service do what they do for the Treasury Department. And then let the FBI handle everything else. And make these other areas subdivisions of the FBI. That way they're all reporting to one central area. Now, people might say, well, that's too much power for one law enforcement agency. Think about how much power the FBI's got now. Okay. The caveat I would have to say there is, though, some of the things that the FBI handles now probably needs to be given over to the state jurisdictions in a lot of cases. But I'll digress on that one. But we have too many alphabet soup law enforcement agencies at the federal level that need to be done away with. Period.com. Too much money being wasted. And all this on top of the heels that all this massive aid package going to Ukraine too is happening. All right? We're stripping our means to defend our country, to support a country that we want to give guns to people to fight for themselves, but at the same token take away guns from law-abiding citizens here in America to defend themselves and their families. Now, if you're not upset or mad about this, you need to be. Okay? I've said it before, I'll say it again. We have no business in the Ukraine. Period. End of discussion. Humanitarian aid, by all means, send them all the blankets, food, first aid supplies all day long. But the sending them of arms and material, like the 777 howitzer, if you don't know what that is, folks, it's the modern 155 millimeter artillery piece that the Army and the Marine Corps use. And I don't know how many we just shipped, but we stripped units here in the United States to send those to them. And I keep seeing on the DOD's website and Facebook page. My question is to Congress, when the hell are you going to restock and replenish our means and ability to defend ourselves? When are you going to demand that Europe step up to the plate and provide more than what they are? Sorry about that tangent, folks. But anyway, I'll keep your eyes open about what's going to happen in the next few days and the coming weeks, because I think some drastic actions are going to try to be implemented. And if you notice, this is all happening on the upcoming midterms. Now, mind you, the upcoming midterms are right around the corner. November is not that far away, boys and girls. And the freak show on the left is going to make an issue of everything. From abortion to men that want to be women and women that want to be men, to gun control, to the restriction of the freedom of speech of conservatives, all in the name of freedom of speech for the left-wing loonbat libertards. Just keep your eyes open. And finally, I'll close on this. If you have not stocked up on food, you need to. You need to. You think the baby shortage thing's bad. I've been telling y'all for 2 years now that there's going to be a looming food shortage. Go check out Uncle Al's page too, if you know who I'm talking about. I've sent you his link before. You can look him up. Diabullfrog 87. Always get the digits mixed up, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Also go check out Wayne at the Ungrateful Peasant. Steve at Corsair Trainers. You need to go listen to those folks. They're an expert in what they talk about. I can give you some good generalizations, but they're experts at what they talk about. There's a few others out there. I just can't think of them right now because, my temper's a little elevated right now with the crap that's going on and the fact that the lies that are being told that they're going to try and use to justify to take away our means to defend ourselves. Finally, I'll close with this, though. Pray for the families in Texas that lost those children and those teachers. Keep them in your thoughts and your prayers. And yes, to any left-leaning comments out there, thoughts and prayers do help, and they do go a long way. You heathens. Stay safe, stay armed, stay vigilant, keep your eyes open, keep your neck on a swivel, keep your ear to the ground, my friends. God bless, take care. Until then. Anyhow, anyway for you, Brother Kyle. Soul Soldier out.